Yes! Hey guys, so today I wanted to talk about tips and tricks I have for getting into college. As you can see, I will be attending the University of Florida Honors College, and it was a long process that led me to choosing this school and getting into this school. And so I wanted to talk about it and advice I have for people who are going through the same process and things I wish I would have done differently. Basically, I started the college process junior year with ACT. And the first thing I would say that I regret about the college process is looking at colleges just for what they were and not financial aid. Like, that might seem stupid because my dad personally told me, just look at the college that's a good fit for you, don't even look at the financial aid. But let's be real, most people need to look at financial aid. I started looking at schools that I liked that were $70,000 a year. And when it came to the time that I got financial aid, I didn't want to be paying $40,000 a year. I was still set in this mindset of ignore financial aid, like just apply to the schools that I like when I started applying to schools. So I applied to some crazy schools. I applied to U Chicago, like 8% acceptance rate. Applied to BC, like 28% acceptance rate. Harvard, 5%. Dartmouth, 10 maybe. And then Barnard, like 16% acceptance rate. And Fordham, which is like 44%. But my top two picks were U Chicago and BC. I got denied from most of those schools. I got denied from Harvard, duh, Dartmouth, duh, U Chicago, duh, and Barnard, Okay, also, before I talk about these colleges, I'll give you like some of my stats or whatever, just so you have some reference. But like, disclaimer, I don't think that scores play a big part for a lot of schools. A lot of schools are holistic and look at the whole application, and I think that you're like, if you have a 36, you're not guaranteed anywhere. So I took the ACT once and I got a 34. And I'll talk more about ACT advice because you don't want to take it like 3 times. That's just money, time, energy, So, and then my GPA when I applied was probably like 3.94 or something unweighted and like 5 weighted because I take IB classes. My second point is talk to professors. What I did, I don't know who, I think I had a college counselor that told me this, and it was like the best advice. Before, if you know you're going on a vacation to go visit colleges like up north or wherever you're going, email professors ahead of time. Okay, let me explain. So you can find professors and their research on any like website for a school. Sometimes it's more difficult, but for Boston College it was pretty easy. Just Google like Boston College professors or whatever. And I looked for biology because that's what I'm interested in. So I found this professor, Dr. Thomas Seyfried, Seyfried. I can spell. So Dr. Thomas Seyfried, whatever. On his page, I saw that he had this research on metabolic treatment for cancer, and I was really interested in that, and I wanted to hear more about it. So basically, I emailed him and I said, hi, I'm coming to Boston College on this date at this time, and I think your research is really interesting, so I was wondering if I could stop by and talk about it. And generally, that's what you're gonna do for any of the colleges you're visiting. Just like short little email, maybe like give them a little compliment, like you're cool. And so I had probably about like maybe like, I'd say like a solid like 62% of the professors email me back, and Dr. Thomas Seyfried was one of them. So when I went to Boston College, I went and met up with him. And me and my dad ended up staying in his office for an hour, and we missed the entire beginning of our tour. So, because we ended up talking to him, and this was a really great experience, he told us all about our research, and I could get into that another time. It was really innovative, like new stuff, and I thought it was so interesting. When it came to write my essay for Boston College, it was so easy. Why this college? Because I want to study with Dr. Thomas Seyfried, whatever. When someone sees that someone put that much effort and has that much of a passion for something so specific at their school, it gives you a way better chance of getting in. Okay, I think I'm just gonna go right back to ACT. ACT obviously isn't like the make or break for whatever college you go to. But I think it plays a big role in a lot of things. And also SAT, what am I talking about? I decided not to do SAT. First of all, finding the right test. Obviously, you can just take a few of the different types. I don't really know the technical differences, but for me, I'm a very mathematical person, and ACT have more straightforward answers for me. I feel like SAT was more reading behind the lines, but that could be completely out there. I don't know. I just didn't like SAT. The thing is, here's the thing. You can spend thousands of dollars on ACT prep, but it won't get you anywhere if you're not doing it on your own. You need to do practice tests. Just do a ton of them. And you also need to figure out why you're missing the ones you missed. For me, whenever I figured out what was wrong, maybe I miss it once or twice, again, the same type of question, but then once I realized what I was missing, I'd stop missing it. The SAT and ACT are just puzzles, and if you put enough time into it, you'll eventually be able to figure out the algorithm for it to solve it. Essays. I would say, okay, when I was in my junior year, I had no idea where to go with my essays. I've had definitely some storylines within my life that I knew I could talk about, but I didn't know how to do it in a creative way. So for me, I really didn't know where to go until I got this book, 50 Successful Harvard Essays. It was actually a really good book, and they had these essays, which are not very long, maybe a page or two, and they're really interesting. And they had not only the essays themselves, but they had the comments by someone from the Harvard Review or whatever. And so that gave me an idea of the structure, because generally all of the essays for the main essay are pretty much the same. Basically, I started off with a little anecdote or whatever, a little short story, and I talked about, don't steal this, but I talked about how when I was little, my dad used to be driving the car, and he would let go of the wheel and put his hands behind his back and be like, "Take the wheel, you're gonna crash." Whenever he did this, I would not do anything, and I would say, "No, I know you're not gonna let us crash. I'm not gonna take the wheel." And my sisters, whenever he did it to them, they'd be like, "Ah!" My impact sentence, thesis, whatever, was just when my mom passed away in 2012, I had to take the wheel and steer. So then throughout my essay, my sort of metaphor was life is a car or whatever, and I had to steer. I no longer had people doing everything for me. And then I went into how I want to go into medicine, because my mom passed away from cancer, and I didn't want people to have to go through the same thing, and I thought it was really important. Look at her little bandana. Cute. Hello? Okay, so we had an interruption because she is going to her play, Shrek. Yes. And she needs to be dropped off, and she totally could have gotten a ride, but of course she had to forget her stuff. So I'm currently driving, and Pupper is up here. So I'm just gonna continue because I don't want to film when it's dark, and I have to go to her play now. I think I left off on essays, and I think overall, yep, just do the thing, you'll be fine. Okay, next thing, the portal. The school portal. So basically the college portals are important to make sure that you have submitted everything. If you're doing financial aid, you have to do, first of all, the FAFSA, whatever. You have to do that. Save some time for that. That's going to take a while. Then you also have to do the CSS profile. I don't think I knew about that till someone mentioned it, and it was the day before it was due or something. So make sure you do that if you want financial aid. Basically, every time after you apply to college, you will get a confirmation email and a link to set up your college portal. So generally, each college portal will have different requirements for a password, and if you're like me and you have 2 emails, you'll probably use different emails for everything. So write down the passwords, or you will change it every time you try to log in. So that's the first thing. Then secondly, those are really, really useful because you can see, they say when they've received your work, if they've received your recommendations, if they've received your application, if they've received your financial aid and all that. And thanks, BB, I love it when you block. Oh, yeah. like call the schools too. Don't feel afraid, like don't be afraid to like email schools and like email like housing, whatever it is, email like financial aid and ask questions, because otherwise you're just gonna like not get accepted because you don't have all the stuff in. I don't even remember all the stuff you need anymore, but yeah, sometimes like an individual school will have a like profile or like some sort of like worksheet or whatever, I don't know, that for financial aid that you have to fill out. So like just make sure you use the portals because they're very useful, and also that's where you're gonna see your acceptance or denial or waitlisted or deferred letter. So make sure you write down the passwords. Next point, deadlines. Make sure from the beginning that you write down all the like what I did was I would like made like a little note, and I like okay, I'm applying here, here, and here, and like here are the deadlines. I did early action for Boston College and UChicago, so I like wrote down the deadlines for that, and then regular decision for all the other ones, and like all the like when I figure out, because I personally like I was like, okay, it's like 35 days till I figure out. Like I needed to know the deadline. I think it's useful, and then like you know, it's good to have the deadlines. So make sure you know the deadlines, not just for like the obvious ones, but like for FAFSA or FAFSA, CSS, whatever. Okay, my next point is gonna be like 2 points, but they're both kind of small, so I'm gonna group them together. Interviews and submitting research. Now, I only did one interview, and I did it with UChicago, which if you're applying to UChicago, I honestly don't know if it's that important to do an interview, because this woman I talked to was like more interested in like, oh, like, do you have any questions? And I'm like literally I spent hours researching UChicago before this interview. No, I don't have questions, but I made some up, so I appeared interested. Anyways, it was literally like she didn't ask me like very many questions at all, and it was also in a library, like one of those library study rooms that like fits 2 people. So I was super claustrophobic, and I kept like having out-of-body experiences. So just like, I don't know, like just prepare for that. And then submitting research. I think this is an easy thing to do that isn't very hard if you already have it. It's a little thing that might give you an edge. Okay, we're gonna part. BRB. Bye, have fun at your plane. I'm in the IB program, so I personally have like done like a big sort of research paper for almost every class, but I also had to do the extended essay. You'll know what it is if you're in the program. But basically I did mine on harmful algal blooms, and I like actually put a lot of work into it and talked to a professor and like interviewed him and everything. Will you stop breathing so loud? Don't submit something unless it's like really unique and like well done. Like I felt like my paper was like not common. Like not many people talk about harmful algal blooms, which are really important. Like make sure you stop polluting, because like we're killing the manner. Yeah, if you have some good academic stuff, like go for it. Okay, and my last point is overall so cheesy, but know yourself, know who you are and what you want. This is more about like choosing a college. For me, I've always been very academic, but I know that in college, I don't want to be like crazy academic all the time. I don't want to go through the same thing I went through in high school. I don't want to be like studying all the time. I want to have a little bit of a life. So that also was part of what helped me with my decision for University of Florida. I'll be able to be one of the top students. I'm in the honors program. I'll be able to like stand out and get leadership positions, and like I'll be able to be more top of the class. If I went to like Harvard or Dartmouth, I would probably be middle to lower of the class. I would be struggling to fit in and to succeed. Honestly, really put into perspective why you're going to college. Like, why is there any reason that you should be going to an Ivy League school rather than a free public one? I've always wanted to do medicine, I know that. But then I'm like, okay, I'm probably gonna, like, I work very hard and I get good grades. I'm probably gonna end up being a doctor and getting to do what I want wherever I am. There's no reason that I need to be at an Ivy League school and be hundreds and thousands of dollars in debt. Additionally, you really need to put into perspective if you're gonna go to graduate school. Do you really wanna be in debt from undergraduate school? Yeah, good luck to everyone applying for college. Honestly, yeah, like denials suck. I definitely was like, I didn't get into Harvard. And like, even though you know you wouldn't get in, it's gonna suck if you get a denial. But there's always a reason that you get denied places. If anyone has any video requests, anything specific about what I talked about today, like if you want me to talk about more on how I got into University of Florida and the honors program, and if you want me like a dorm tour or anything when I get there, I'll be starting the summer session, so I will be starting in July. If you have any other questions about maybe more specific stuff like ACT tricks or essay tricks or anything, just let me know. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Bye.